we were looking at, defining emotional charge. What is it when you have a charged emotion? May it be polarized, positive or negative or anything. What is going on in your field when that happens?
What is going on is that the pain of that experience is still present, unresolved. That's the bottom line, that the trauma is not resolved, and it will always seek resolution in its own either clear way or in a distorted way. So that charge has a huge impact on your life, and it will inform the choices that you make, whether you like it or not. So it is very important. There's so much stuff today about trauma, but trauma is, there's small trauma and there's big trauma. But there's trauma in everyone's life, whether it's death, disease, divorce, whatever, and or other unpleasant experiences, which normally are not resolved. They're just not resolved, and they hold a vast amount of energy. That energy is not available for creativity. That energy is not available for function. So when you release that energy, not only release it, but to reorganize it so that it becomes neutral, that energy becomes available for useful work, like creativity and functioning well in your life, in your relationships, and everything. It has a huge effect, beneficial effect, and that is because the frequencies allow you to access the most important number, which is 0. It allows it to go to 0. Otherwise, you can talk and you can do all the other things. You will get some resolution, but you will not go to 0. 0 is where the portal is between this dimension and the others, the quantum dimension, for want of a better term. And to reach the miracles of that dimension that are available just for your asking, you have to get to 0. Unless you get to 0, you can't cross that portal. And the frequencies allow you to access that portal just like that, just with the holding. That's what they do. And we see that through the imaging. We've seen that time and time and time again through the imaging. How quickly is the trauma resolved? It just dissolves instantly. It doesn't mean that the person will feel that benefit right away, but we can see that happen in the imaging. The instant that you hold the right frequency, the trauma is gone. You want an example?
Yes, please.
There are 2 different ones.
Okay.
So Meher and I kind of have a thing about it. But I'm going to go with both, maybe, because I've experienced both and I saw the magic of them. And this child had been adopted and didn't know who his father was. And so he had told his adoptive mother to find out somehow. He had met his biological mother one time, and she had refused to see him after that. So what happened was that when he came in, he was very distraught. And what had happened was that his mother, his adoptive mother, had given him some really shocking news about his father, his real father, which I won't go into. I won't go into the exact thing, but it was very, very shocking. And he was totally distraught with that news and very, very angry with his adoptive mother, who had given him the bad news. So I asked him, I said, "Did you not ask for this news?" He said, "Yes." So I said, "Then you have to handle it." So how did we handle this? This guy is distraught, he's weeping, he's absolutely furious. And so we did an alignment with his biological mother, with his adoptive mother, and the divine mother. We aligned it. It's a frequency alignment. So when you hold the photographs, the photograph will become incoherent. And then when you hold the photograph, the same photograph with the relevant frequencies, the photo becomes coherent. So that is what we did. And we created that alignment. And all he had was a little vial to put on his wrist, containing a few drops of water with information. He had calmed down completely by the time he left, but that is not the thing. 4 days later, he phoned me. He says, Thrity, I've hit the ceiling. What does that mean? It meant that he was on top of the world. So where did that trauma go? How did it go? What did we do? Nothing and everything. So it's a question of aligning to the right frequency. That is all that is needed to solve a lot of trauma. A lot of very difficult situations can be resolved and dissolved. And then we had another instance, which is a different kind of a trauma. This was a childhood trauma, which he had to resolve. But this was this young woman who had been in the London bombings in 2005. When we met her, it was what, 2017?
I don't remember.
Something like that. She had been exactly by the bus that blew up. And she had seen some very unpleasant things, with limbs flying, etc., etc. And she had been pulled out of the situation. But 10 years down the line, the trauma was, she had done a lot of work. She had done yoga, she had gone traveling, she had done a lot to heal her life. But she still kept talking about it. We were in a little retreat for 2 or 3 days, and she talked about it a lot. So I knew that it's there. It's not gone. And what she said was that even today, after all the work that she had done, whenever there was a loud noise, her body would react. So it's held in the body. It's physiological. And so I asked her, I said, do you want me to help you a little bit, if you like? And she was about to leave, so I had 10 minutes to do this. And I just asked her to go to the place that place which was when it happened, to feel into it. She was trusting enough to do it. And I said, what's your distress level? The normal way we measure distress levels. I said, where's your distress level? From 1 to 10, where 1 is calm and 10 is high distress. She said, something around 9 or something. I don't remember exactly, but it was a very high number. I just gave her the frequencies to hold, the RTLFs, that is, green in the right, pink in the left, and just sat with her. Nothing, no talking. Didn't ask her to describe anything, nothing. Just asked her to stay with it and to tell me when the distress started. Distress is also charge. Started coming down. Within a while, it came down some. Then I gave her, because there was a real shortage of time, I flipped it and gave her the green in the left hand, which calms the system down. That's one of the things. And took away the other one. Again, just for maybe a couple of minutes. And then gave her the exam interview frequency to wear. Another couple of minutes. 10 minutes, the charge had come down from 10 to almost nothing. No talk, no nothing, just holding a few pieces of glass. Big deal.
Was that able then to neutralize the distortion?
Yes. 1 year later, I didn't go for that retreat. Meher went. And so
I think that's a very key thing, is that a year later, she reported that she'd become aware that when she heard a loud bang, she hadn't had that startle response, which is a very significant change. And it's not a change that, it's not, we can imagine something, because the startle response is a physiological response that is an involuntary response. So that was a very significant change.
It's hugely significant, so profound. And those real life examples, of which I've read both of your books, and they're so many. And I mean, absolutely, the evidence is there in abundance that these frequencies work.